After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. Again, I don't care. I can't control what other people say.
But you can control when you correct somebody.
Exactly.
Right?
But at least
you could when you want to, but you choose not to with specific people.
Well, I may agree with them.
So anybody who agrees with you is okay.
Yeah.
Anybody you don't agree with, you cut them down, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, how does that freedom of speech work?
Listen, I ain't stopping you from speaking. I just don't have to agree with you.
Double-minded, and I'll see you next hour.
After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. Wait a minute. When you don't have an intellectual argument, it is so easy. Remember that old saying I told you that great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people? Well, that's in the category of small mind.
What's that? Is that at me or Dennis Latham?
That was at Dennis.
Huh?
That's at Dennis.
Okay.
If the best you can do, and Joshua, if the best you can do is insult me, don't take me on. Take my ideology on. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change.
Although
I am going to make a couple of program changes.
Okay.
And, well, not really program changes, some protocol changes, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. I am going to make a couple of program changes.
Okay.
And, well, not really program changes, some protocol changes, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Because somebody did bring something to my attention the other day.
Okay.
And when one gets wise counsel, even from folks younger than them, they should listen to it.
Right.
And I have this. You see, I don't even mind people disagreeing. As a matter of fact, if you disagree with me, I'm absolutely thrilled by that. It at least gives me the opportunity to either prove it or disprove what you say, or maybe it shows me that I'm wrong about something, and I can get a different perspective. But I will say this much, for callers that called this show, and you reach down to the lowest depths of stupidity in your presentation of your argument, such as calling me a coon or Uncle Tom, you're not going to be allowed to call this show anymore. I'm just, if that's the best you can do in your argument, honestly, we don't need to waste airtime with you. If you can't argue your point without coming up with those stereotypical sayings, so be careful what you call me if you want to call this show. Because I don't really mind disagreement. That's what this is all about.
Right.
But if the best you could do is call me a coon or a house Negro or something like that, you just lost your man card and your ticket to this show. And somebody brought it to me the other day. Said, we don't mind people disagreeing, but if that's the best argument you can make, then you don't have any argument. You just don't have the intellectual capacity to hold a conversation and argue the merits of your argument. It's stupid to me. And people, if we want to hear that, we turn on Saturday Night Live, or rap songs.
Right.
We can hear that there. If you're going to argue with me, disagree with me, I don't care. But make it at least like you grown. At least act like you have some intelligence, especially from people who supposedly have all these degrees. Okay, if you have an education, at that moment, that is the perfect time to display it. Okay, but when you go down to Uncle Tom and House Negro and all that stuff, listen, you just lost your argument with me. So I'm just saying. So if you're going to call this show, I don't care how much you disagree, and I may be wrong a lot of times. I don't think so, but then again, that's my thinking. But the minute we come out with that, you will be banned. I just don't have time for that anymore. I forget my little boy. I got to explain things to my little boy sometimes.
Really?
Daddy, why they call you that?
Really? Well, I think, and I'm not defending any of that behavior. I think a lot of times, Kevin, you may provoke individuals who cannot express themselves.
Then they don't need to call talk radio.
And they don't need to call.
They don't need to call.
In other words, and as a matter of fact, there are people who I talk to out there in the world, and they say, well, why don't you tell Kevin? I said, well, why don't you tell him?
Yeah.
If you have a point. In other words, I enjoy being here with you on Wednesdays, not because I agree with you every time, but because we can have a discussion. And that doesn't involve me attacking you personally. I can disagree with you, and you can disagree with me, and we can do it agreeably.
Well, you have attacked me personally, but you did
No,
it. But you done well. Yeah. But you've done it in a way that's okay. I mean, I disagree with you, but you.
And you, I'll agree with you the same.
Yeah.
And we can do it in a tactful manner.
Right.
And if there are people who get offended by it,
yeah, well, that's them.
That's them. But you and I, at the end of the day, when we walk out, we're never mad with each other. No. As a matter of fact, we laugh about different points and see how silly it is when other people start arguing and going into this other thing. So I'm not defending that behavior, but if you're an emotional person and can't control your emotions, you just don't call.
Yeah. Send me an email.
Yeah, send an email. And by the time you get the words out in the email, you'll probably change your mind.
Yeah, probably change your mind. Because somebody did bring something to my attention the other day.
Okay.
Because somebody did bring something to my attention the other day.
Okay.
Because somebody did bring something to my attention the other day.
Okay.
After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change.
So anybody who agrees with you is okay.
Yeah.
Anybody you don't agree with, you cut them down, right?
Absolutely. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change.
So anybody who agrees with you is okay.
Yeah.
Anybody you don't agree with, you cut them down, right?
Absolutely. After all these years, and you wonder why things don't change. They don't change because you don't change.
So anybody who agrees with you is okay.
Yeah.
Anybody you don't agree with, you cut them down, right?
Absolutely.